What's going on, everyone? In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how you can manage and train setters to get them into KPI. What this means is if you've been booking consistent qualified calls yourself on platforms like LinkedIn, which is what I'm going to show in this video, but this can apply to like Twitter, this can apply to Instagram, any type of DM setting that you've been doing. If you're consistently booking calls and the rate at which you've been doing that is consistent for 3 months. So let's say you've got an appointment booking rate of 2 to 5% for 3 months. You're at the stage where you can actually automate appointment setting and not have to do anything yourself. And what this is going to allow you to do is specifically to remove yourself from the acquisition process. So all that you can focus on is sales and service delivery. And where I'm applying this right now, and it's working extremely well. And just helps me so much when it comes to growing the company, when it comes to sales, improving my conversion rate, and then also delivering good results for clients, because I do not have to worry about appointment setting. But this is only going to work if you literally implant your brain and everything you know about appointment setting into A to Z document, an SOP kind of hub for setters to essentially read over and learn once you hire them. So I did make a video about how to hire appointment setters. This is going to be how to actually create a system that trains them properly, that manages them properly, so that they can get in the same results that you did with appointment booking. Now, I'm going to show it with LinkedIn, and because LinkedIn is probably the best when it comes to DM setting and putting setters onto like accounts to essentially reach out for you and just book you a ton of appointments. So this is the SOP that I built that I give to all my setters. So introduction, just account setup. So everything that they need to make an account, have all of that set up, profile configuration, warm up, all of these things that they need to know to run a LinkedIn account and do outreach on it. I'll show you guys essentially what this is all about. So when it comes to the account setup, so profile configuration, posting content, warm up, limits. So everything they need to know about sending outreach, the limits for outreach. Now, I'm not going to walk you through exactly step by step everything that I've done, but once you've been doing these things, because firstly, that's not going to help you. So if you want, shiny objects, you really need to think about this and apply it, because every system runs a bit differently, and you want to make sure that the setters can literally just follow what you have proven to work yourself, so that you can remove yourself from acquisition properly without, hiring people that don't even without hiring people that don't know what they're doing, because you don't quite know how the system runs. So you really have to think about what you're putting here. Now, profile configuration SOP. So this is everything to do with making an account, literally step by step, A to Z. So you should be able to onboard a setter. They go through this, and then in the space of 2 to 3 weeks, they're booking consistent appointments. That's how effective you can make these things, so that you can essentially it just works extremely well, because it's better than AI. It's better than in these AI agents. This is the best thing for automating appointment setting, because it's unlimited accounts that setters can take over. So just extremely useful. So LinkedIn content. So we have Slack channels where we put content for setters. If you have a different method, you can also do that. Warm up, LinkedIn limits, all these things that you want to put. Then that's what that covers. And now this is actually, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this kind of systems thinking from people like Charlie Morgan, from people like Sam Ovens. But inputs, process, outputs, feedback. So everything here needs to be intact for the system to run how you were running it for 3 months, or however long you've been running it in KPI. Now, when it comes to account setup and lead sourcing, those are the inputs of the system, because how you set up the account, how you do all these other things are the inputs to the system in some way. And then also lead sourcing, connecting, sending initial outreach, all of these things, they're also inputs. And then your process, how you handle objections. So all of these things that need to be implanted into documents that setters can simply follow. Now, when it comes to lead sourcing, so you really want to make these things detailed. Like I said, this video is not about giving you plug and play that you can give your own setters, because this is specifically for our company and the specifics of what we do. But look at this for lead sourcing. So a 2-page document covering how to source leads, how to connect with leads, what to watch out for, who not to connect with, who to connect with, literally at a granular level. So it's impossible for a setter to mess something up if they've looked at this properly and actually absorb the information. So I've seen a lot of people they hire setters, and then in their documents, all they have is a few lines, and they wonder why the setters just go off into the woods and just don't book any appointments, and they're deer in headlights. You need to just literally make everything as clear as possible. Now, again, this is the exact system we use. Again, it's not about copying and pasting what I'm doing. This is a very unique method we found to source leads on LinkedIn using Boolean search filters. We've actually automated the entire process using GPT that I've created. And essentially it allows us to find all different types of agencies, whether they're doing content, whether they're doing YouTube marketing, whether they're doing AI agents, or anything that's anyone is selling nowadays. It allows us to find these people, connect with them, to set it up for outreach. Now, you just want to, whatever lead sourcing system you use, whether it's through Sales Navigator, whether you use external softwares, whether you do it through an automation software, you want to have this just explained step by step in a document so that setters can follow it. Now that's the lead sourcing side of things. Then there's also the outreach SOP. So this is where it gets extremely granular and detailed. So, this resource goes over the daily SOP for LinkedIn outreach, gives you everything you need for messaging, logging prospects, tracking metrics, while also giving you workflow you can use it to achieve a 2 to 5% appointment booking rate. Now, scripts and follow-ups, I'm not going to go into the very specifics of this because I'm not going to share exactly what we use, but the exact system that we use, all the scripts and all the follow-ups that we use that are the general replies or the general kind of outreach that we send to people. Obviously, when people reply, we send different things. We have to do objection handling, and then each prospect becomes unique, and the way we deal with those replies has to be unique, which is why you should also build out an objection handling SOP. So I'm actually building out an objection handling SOP as well. That's coming here, which I haven't actually done yet, and a warm omnichannel outreach SOP. So we're constantly adding things to this SOP, which is what you want to do when you give this off to setters. So everything that you do to achieve your appointment booking rate is what the setters also need to be doing. Otherwise, they won't perform. Now, setters don't need to be particularly skillful. They don't need to be like Einstein. They literally just need to follow the inputs and be disciplined and consistent. So this is why in the hiring process, if you see, I got another video on my YouTube about how to hire setters, because all you want to look for when hiring setters is consistency and discipline, so that they simply just follow the information that's given here. Over time, then they can learn, they can become your head setter, they can then manage setters, and you can completely remove yourself from even managing as well. But for the time being, you just want to create something that setters can easily follow. So, CRM metric trackers, the daily workflow, like this, look at this daily workflow. Like if you really want setters to be able to book appointments for you consistently, this is the type of detail that you need. This is what they do in the morning. Literally every single thing that they need to do in the morning, literally it's impossible to mess it up if they're following what they're doing. And if they're not following what you're doing, you can just fire them. You can give them 3 strikes and they're out. So essentially everything they need to do in the morning, everything they can do throughout the day, everything they need to do in the evening. And that's every single weekday. Then all these other things, logging and tracking prospects. We have certain CRMs, exactly how to use the CRMs, exactly how to track prospects in the CRMs that we use. So we just use Google Sheets for CRMs. Pretty sure it's this one. Yeah. So for example, this is one of our months. 4% appointment booking rate. We only sent 80 messages because we had some restrictions on this account for this month. But exactly how to run these Google Sheets so that they don't mess anything up. Back to the systems thinking, guys, like process. This is all part of the process. So the exact inputs that you did, the exact process that you did, the exact outputs that you get from that, literally, you need to have every part of the input and process covered so that these setters can consistently book appointments in this KPI that you've managed to get on LinkedIn. Now, again, I've already prefaced this, but if you haven't got into KPI, if you haven't even, if you've barely started LinkedIn outreach, do not hire setters. Do not try to do that. A lot of people preach to just hire setters to help you book calls, but if you don't know how to book appointments, you'll never be able to train setters to do it properly, and it's your business and you need to have control of it. Don't take setters off, appointment setting training programs that, give you setters and then they're going to double their prices, or then you don't get any appointments. So you really want to know how you do this before you palm it off to setters that you can hire as contractors. So again, logging and tracking prospects, all of that. Daily workflow, handling questions, neutral replies, objections. So when they don't know how to reply to something, we have a dedicated Slack channel that they can put in those replies, so I can get back to them quickly, so that we can still have speed to lead, so that we can actually make sure that they're still staying in KPI and dealing with objections properly. So that's that one as well. Then when it comes to exactly how to get paid out. So this is everything they need to know, granular detail on how to get paid, how to track their appointments, how to log them, how to get paid, because we pay setters, per commission. You really want to pay setters, maybe $30 to $70 per appointment, depending on, how much you're making on the back end. Whether you want to pay them on commission on the close, that's up to you, but you really want this incentive loop to be, they book an appointment and they get the money for that. They book an appointment, they get the money for that. So it's an incentive loop where it just becomes extremely effective. And then they also learn over time, the more that you pay them, the more incentive they have to just do much better for you and just to book you more appointments, which just makes you more money. So it's a win-win. Now, account recovery verification. So this is, platform specific things. So if you're doing things on Instagram, there's going to be certain limits on Instagram, certain things that you probably would have learned running Instagram outreach. You want those exact things written in your Instagram SOPs so that you can actually make sure setters follow that, and so you don't have to, if something falls apart. So the setters can simply go back to this and figure everything out without you having to, waste so many hours telling them what to do. Now, I'm getting into the nitty gritty, but overall, it's literally this, guys. Like, this is all that matters. This is like, I used to think it was all the shiny object or what AI we're using. It's literally just get a process for appointment booking and then hand it off to appointment setters that can do that for you. And then literally you've got a business that's going to make 5-figure months in no time, because when all you do is focus on sales and service delivery, it's just like a completely different business. But you can only do this when you've got to the stage where appointment booking is easy for you, so that you can implant your brain, essentially, like I've mentioned, into these SOPs. And it's all about inputs, processes, outputs, feedback. It's never about anything else. It's always this. So if they're not following what's in the SOP, if they're not performing well, it means they're not following the information in this SOP. If you've done everything right, it just means they're not doing it. It means they're not following it properly, which then means you can easily diagnose what they're doing wrong. And this is where training and managing the setters gets into play. You want to set up weekly meetings with them. You want to set up team meetings where you can, set goals for them to have goals, so they're not just fluffing around doing whatever they want, and also seeing a team culture. All these things matter as well. But when it comes to running the system, you really want fully decked out SOPs. So we've also got this for Twitter. So if I go here, we've got an X setting SOP. So I've got an into KPI on X as well. I have the exact same thing for X. Now X account setup SOP. Then we use an automation software for X. So I tell the setters exactly how to use the automation software, exactly how to manage the software, exactly how to run campaigns in the software, all the minor settings, like everything they need to know to actually run these campaigns that I've been running for months on end in KPI. So that all that I have to do is palm it off to them, manage and train them every single week, and soon enough they'll be in KPI and I won't even have to do anything. So this is what you want to implement. This wasn't a nitty gritty like telling you exactly how to make your SOPs, but if you're at the stage where you can hire appointment setters because you're all in the weeds, like you're booking appointments, you're trying to do sales, you're trying to do service delivery, one of the best ways like to just grow in your business is to relieve yourself of the appointment side of things, especially with DMs, because it's just so scalable with appointment setters. And if you're constantly setting appointments, you're never going to be able to focus on sales completely, and you're never going to be able to focus on product completely. So you need to remove yourself from the acquisition process. So I hope this gives you guys some clarity on exactly how to make SOPs so that appointment setters can consistently book 5 calls per 100 DMs sent on LinkedIn. So if there's 2 accounts and you're sending 200 DMs, a day. Let's just go to a calculator. Let's say each setter books, 5 calls per 100 DMs, and they send 300 DMs. So they book 15 calls per account each. You run 2 accounts, that's already 30 appointments a month without you doing anything. So that's how powerful this gets. And if they're connecting with the right people, these are going to be qualified, high intent calls they're not just tire kicker calls. And this is why you also, with the commission and tracking, you want to make sure that you're validating calls on the back end to make sure setters aren't booking anyone in. But this kind of breaks it down at a high level. Let me know if you guys want. Just put it in the comments if you guys want any more detailed explanations of how to hire setters, how to train them, and how to make SOPs that get them into KPI like you have been able to do. Because running the system is not quite the same as teaching it. And so if you guys want any videos about that, or how to build up objection handling SOPs, or I guess anything else to do with appointment setting, because that's really what we're focused on, just let me know in the comments. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.